Are you locked out of your RV? If you are, there's two things that could have happened, and I know you're stranded and stuck, and that's terrible. One way is if the flapper has a lock on it. This one doesn't happen to, but if the flapper has a lock on it and there's not a knob inside the RV to undo the flapper lock, then there's a deadbolt lock and a flapper lock. And if somebody is inside the RV and somebody else from outside locks the door, like your friend or spouse or partner leaves in the morning and locks the door, and you come out, the flapper can be locked and the deadbolt will be open because they had to open the deadbolt to come out. And so if that's the case, you need to find a key or a locksmith or get the number off here and get another key made to solve your problem. But if your flapper works and the door does not open, there's a very high likelihood that the internal piece that slides is broken in half. Oh my goodness, I got a Class A, I got to go through the window. How do we do this? So, I will show you. This is the part. This is the breakable design that is horrible. This one is made out of pot metal. There's a replacement that's made out of steel, but as you can see, it comes down with these really narrow little tabs and then connects, and that has broken. And when that breaks, the spring and the plunger, which are right next to that, lock the door and you're done. You can't get in, you can't get out. On the trip, I hadn't really had any problems. There was a little bit of an alignment problem because of the way I parked, and I had fixed that and greased this. Everything was working great. So, as a warning, if you replace this, get one that's steel and put a magnet on it. I'll show you that in a second. And I'll also show you how to rescue yourself if there's somebody inside the RV. Hopefully somebody who understands how to get the tools from underneath the bed. You need a screwdriver in the coach, and somebody who understands how to take the inner panel off and then how to recognize this is broken, take the string out, spring out, take the plastic part out, and pull this plunger back. That was the process of letting us access the RV again. And then they are flawed and terrible. And so what you need to do is get inside the coach, and there's 3 screws that you undo to take the back of the door lock off, and then you take the 2 little red knobs off. And I will show more details from my other RV where I had to fix this. I'll show the part that you can purchase, but to get yourself in, you need to undo the 3 screws on the inside of the RV and take the handle apart, and then there's a spring and a broken piece, and then you can slide the lock mechanism back out, and then we're gonna... Okay, so in the situation we were in, I was talking through the door and I said, hey boys, are there any screws on it? And I've heard people report that they had to drill out the door in order to figure out how to take it off if they're outside the coach, which that'd be trouble. Anyway, there's 3 screws here, and I said, are there any screws? Take those out, take those out. And so they did. Those 3 screws come popping out, and then wiggled in, and not sure, I guess I didn't even do this before, but you have to pull that off that piece. So once we had that loose, from the outside I was pulling on this trying to see if I could get it out, but you can't because there's 2 screws on the end here we have to deal with. But basically this plunger fits deep down inside this mechanism like that, and it was broken, and the spring was, the spring goes in here some way, and the spring was pushing it open because there wasn't any form of mechanism to help pull it back against the spring. So they reached in there with the screwdriver and they pulled this spring out, and then they pushed it that way, and we were able to open the coach and access it. I have a longer video that's very detailed on how to explain taking it out and installing a new one and where to order it and whatever else. I'll put a link to that somewhere. And then otherwise, if you have a lock on the flapper and you can't unlock it from the inside of your RV, I would highly suggest you get another key and hide it underneath your RV somewhere in one of your bins or just in your bumper or whatever else. So if you're tragically locked out of your RV, those are the two things that can happen. And I hope this video helps. Like, share, subscribe, tell your mom.